It's your boy Just Anderson. I'm back with another upload. In today's upload, I want to do compare and contrast video between these two shoes. Obviously, because of one, they're both great performers, and for two, they're one of the hottest shoes on the market right now. And I feel like having a little brand awareness is good for competition purposes. So for today, the two shoes we'll be discussing is the GT Cut 1 White Chrome and the 8085 Ultra Cherry Blossom from Way of Wade. Let's get into it. Before we get into the upload today, I have a small request. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe on this video, make this be the video you join the family. And not only that, the question for today is, which brand do you guys feel like is killing it right now on the market? It could be Nike, it could be Adidas, it could be Ling Ning, it could be Way of Wade, it could be Under Armour. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll respond. But with that being said, let's get into today's video. Alright, now that we got all that out the way, I'm going to give a quick rundown of the shoe. If you guys want to see the full performance test for either shoe, I'll put the link in the description. But, as you guys know, I'm going to give a quick rundown of the shoe, and then I'm going to give my unbiased opinion of which shoe I feel like is better. But I'll also give reasons and facts and how I felt while playing, so you guys can make a decision on which shoe to buy if you're ever in this, predicament. Good? Alright, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the GT Cut 1 first. In terms of traction, the traction that could be found on the GT Cut 1 is a translucent rubber outsole that's multi-directional. Quickly glossing over the traction on the GT Cut 1 is phenomenal. I completely understand why Nike brought this shoe back, and I understand why it's a fan favorite. Disclaimer, when I first did my performance test, that was my first time ever playing in the shoe. So when these shoes first came out, which I think was like 2018, 2020, somewhere around that time frame, I never had a pair. And I just recently got a pair this year. So while I was playing in the traction, it was a really fun experience. It gripped all courts I played on. And if it even picked up a little amount of dust, it wasn't too much. So traction was phenomenal. I believe I ranked it like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It was one of the two, but traction is really good. Moving over to the material side of things, the materials on the GT Cut 1 was really good. It has breathable mesh and synthetic materials, which are really good. I had no ventilation problems. My foot never got hot, and the materials really formed to my foot well while I was playing and as I kept playing in this shoe more and more. And I really did enjoy the materials on this shoe. Very good for guards, obviously, because it's a guard shoe. And I believe I ranked these like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Like, this shoe was damn near perfect last time, or when I did the performance test, I should say. When I did a performance test, I really did enjoy these, and I still do to this day. Next, we're going to talk about the cushion. The cushion that could be found on the GT Cut 1 is a Zoom Air Strobo unit and a React foam midsole. As you guys can see, it's a drop-in. You can take it out, put it back in, yada, yada, yada. You guys know the deal already, so yeah. In terms of fit, I went true to size. As you guys know, I get most of my shoes in a 9.5, for reference purposes. If you're wondering what size I get, I don't go have a size up or down, so I go true to size, and that's just me. All right, now that we covered the GT Cut 1, we're now going to cover the 8085 Ultra from Way of Wade, aka Ling Ning. So let's get into it. All right, like any other performance test or compare and contrast video, we'll start with the traction. The traction that could be found on the 8085 Ultra is two traction setups, which is GCU and Tough RB. In terms of the traction on this shoe is really, really good. It's one of those shoes where the shoe might stop, but your foot might not stop. And if you guys understand that joke, then you're one of my favorites from now on. Whenever I play in the shoe, I got to brace myself at all times, because trust and believe, when the shoe stops, bro, it's like, whoa. Like, I might pull something playing in these, because it really stops like that. And especially on really, really clean courts, it's really, really good. Not only that, you could take these outdoors, but with the price point this shoe is at, I would not recommend it, so please don't do it. Not only that, dust doesn't really affect it that much. I've played on multiple different courts on this shoe, and each time it's been great, so W traction. Moving over to the material side of things, the materials that could be found on the 8085 is engineered mesh with synthetic overlays and a knitted upper. The materials on the shoe is really good, molds to your feet over time. It feels really comfortable. Your feet don't get hot, which, as you guys know, once a shoe makes my foot hot, I'm really not for it. And outside of that, the shoe is just really good material-wise and traction-wise. So far, W. Next on the 8085, we're going to talk about the cushion. The cushion that could be found in the 8085 is a drop-in Super Boom midsole. I feel like talking about these two cushion setups is going to be really important and be like the end-all be-all for which shoe you buy or what you choose to spend your money on. So make sure when I talk about this, you pay attention. But as you guys can see, drop-in Super Boom midsole. So, yeah. In terms of fit, I would say go true to size. I don't go have a size up or down. So I could not tell you what you guys should do, but for me, I go true to size. Shoe runs a little long, but it's not nothing that's gonna kill your ankles or your toes or nothing. So that's what I would say, go true to size. All right, now that I've covered these two juggernauts, I'm gonna talk about each one pros and cons wise, and then you guys can make a decision of which shoe you should purchase. So let's do it. Now that we've discussed both shoes, let's get into the GT Cut 1's pros and cons. In terms of like anything on the shoe, traction, material, cushion, fit wise, pros is all a pro. The only con I could possibly say about the GT Cut 1s is that they are $200. Well, they're $190 retail, but with taxes, you're basically spending like $195 to $200. Is it worth that money? Yes. Would I say go out your way to buy them? No. Listen, if you have the money to buy them, I'll definitely say do it. But if you don't have it, don't force yourself to do it. It is an expensive shoe, and I understand that, but it is worth the money. The traction's good. The material's good. My shoes haven't deteriorated over time, but then again, I do have a lot of shoes, so I'm not just gonna like burn through my GT Cut 1s, especially because this is my first pair, so I don't plan on doing that. Now that we went over the pros and cons of the GT Cut 1, let's do it for the 808 now. In terms of the 808 everything's a pro, but there's probably one con, and the only con is that the shoe does run a little bit long. And I know some people like that snug fit. Maybe if you go half a size down, you may be able to get that snug fit, but I'm not too sure. And like I said before, the fit, it didn't bother me. It was 9.5. It ran a little long, but it wasn't to the point where like I couldn't enjoy the shoe. The shoe's price point at $160, but if you use my code Just Anderson, just saying, you get $10 off. So, you know, if you want a pair, use the code. Outside of that, I really did enjoy the shoe, but here's the deciding factor that I have to talk about, and I'm gonna need both shoes to talk about this, so give me 2 seconds. Now that I've taken out the drop-in out of both shoes, as you guys could tell, and I'm pretty sure you've noticed, both shoes have a drop-in. This is the drop-in React, and this is the drop-in Super Boom. Where the difference lies with these two is that I feel like the drop-in React is more so for comfort, whereas the drop-in Super Boom is for like impact protection. The reason why I say this is because the drop-in for both are comfortable, but the one on the GT Cut 1 gives more of a smooth ride, whereas the drop-in on the 808 is like bouncy, kind of like squishy in a way. The drop-in on the GT Cut 1, you could definitely find this smooth ride, comfortable ride in a different shoe, but in the 808 you're not gonna find this like bouncy, kind of like squishy type of setup, because it's weird on how on the 808 it just feels like squishy and bouncy. Like, it's really hard to explain, and I would probably give the slight edge to the 808 because it's something different. Because I feel like in a good shoe, you can find a smooth ride with a great cushion setup, but you're not gonna find a cushion where like you could tell that it's like bouncy and squishy when you're jumping up and down, running up and down the court, if that makes sense. Like, obviously you're gonna have to get used to it because it does feel weird and it does feel like a little new. But outside of that, it is a pretty good cushion setup. Now that I've discussed both shoes, the GT Cut 1 and the 808 here are my final thoughts. My final thoughts is that both shoes are really good. What I would say is that if you're a regular consumer of basketball shoes, let's say like you don't really care about the materials, the traction, all that other stuff, you would probably talk about the money aspect of the shoe and like what's more affordable. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like you want a good shoe, but you're not willing to spend that 200, which is fine, because I ain't judging, because trust me, I be pinching my pennies. I don't like spending my money. But if you're a person where like you just want a good basketball shoe and you don't want to spend too much money, I would definitely say you would fall in line with like that 808 Ultra category, because it's $160. Not only that, I have a discount code, which is code Just Anderson. I'll put it, you know, right below me so you can see it. But if you're a person where you just want to just try like a shoe that you've heard that's been hyped up and you don't care about the money, you'll probably fall in line more with the GT Cut 1, because you've heard so many good things about it. Obviously, a lot of people wore it. It went away for like a very long time and people were asking for it, and now they're slowly re-releasing them. So I could definitely see like the people that don't really care how much the shoe costs go to the GT Cut 1. In my personal opinion, both shoes are great. Like, you can't go wrong with either or. It's just one of those like gray areas where like one shoe is not superior than the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously I could like nitpick and be like, oh, the 808 Ultra grips the court harder than the GT Cut. 1 or the GT Cut 1 has a smoother ride than the 808 5s. But even if so, like at the end, they both, in terms of traction materials and cushion, just feel good. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I would say let me know in the comments which shoe you would pick. And if you do end up picking up the 808 5s or the GT Cut 1s, comment down this video. Or even if you have a pair ready, let me know what you think on which is the better shoe and why you feel that way. But besides that, it's your boy Just Anderson. Thank you for tuning in to another upload. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.